welcome. However you're listening, wherever you're listening, those of our people in the diaspora, those in the counties, if you're following this, via radio and other online platforms, we'd like to welcome you to this edition of our weekly press briefing. It has been quite a busy time for the presidency, particularly for His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Boakai. During the course of the week, and as you know, there has been a number of different things happening, especially so for the president coming from the county, particularly visitation to Grand Jide last week. And as you know, prior to now, specifically during the annual message during the beginning of the year, His Excellency did speak about his reconciliation drive, the need to reconcile our country, the need to, have closure for the people, those who were affected, and he promised to have set up a committee for the reburial efforts of former presidents who were assassinated during the course of the Liberian civil conflict, and to give those leaders befitting burials. And upon the establishment of the committee, our president and the team have been working assiduously to ensure that the families of our deceased former president receive closure, particularly in honoring the deceased and honoring the memories and the contributions that they made to our country. And that effort started with the presence of our president in Grand Jide County, where he had gone leading the Liberian delegation and ministers and other officials of government to bury the late President Samuel Kayando. Coincidentally, the former First Lady, Madam Nancy Bondo, was also deceased, was also given the needed honor and the burial. So that activity happened last week. And beginning of this week as well, the President did pay a visit to the families of slain former President William Richard Talbot. And following that, there was a book of condolence that was opened. And the President again led delegation to the signing ceremony of for former President William R. Talbot. Following that, there was a national memorial occasion that was held at the Centennial Pavilion to honor the former president. And besides the former president, other government officials and who were slain, who were also killed during the course of our civil conflict. And for the president, these initiatives are intended to really ensure that we begin our process of lasting reconciliation. And on tomorrow, the president will also again lead the country to a national healing and reconciliation program. And this will happen at the EJS Ministerial Complex beginning at 10 in the morning, and the public is invited. And this particular occasion is really also a part of this process that His Excellency has started. And this occasion is intended to honor the memories of those who have lost their lives during the course of our civil conflict, but also Liberians and even non-Liberians who lost their lives on the line fighting the Ebola epidemic that ravaged our country, as well as the COVID-19 virus that also ravaged our country. And the memorial activities and healing program is happening tomorrow, and it's open to the public, and everyone is encouraged to be a part of this. And this is also a climax of the event that started. Even though this part is happening, but it is not the end of the reconciliation drive. This is a beginning of doing more and ensuring that our country begin the process really to taking responsibility, but also doing more. And the event tomorrow, the president will also be doing something very important. And I'll allow that event to take place, and again come back here to let you know why is that and why it was such an important time for our country. The president is also encouraging Liberians all over the world, even in Liberia, to really see this moment as a moment to really think deep, think about moving our country forward, think about beginning a process, because closure is not easy. Forgiving someone who has hurt you is not an easy task. And really owning to that process. It's a process, it's a stand, and he's encouraging all of us, Liberians, to come together and really work towards a long-term national healing and reconciliation process. The President also participated in activities marking the 249th Independence Anniversary of the United States of America. And interestingly, today also is the Independence Day of the United States of America, and the President also wishing the government and people of the United States a happy Independence Day. To all of you, our friends, and interestingly, the United States has been a long-term ally to Liberia with all of the programs, the investments, and workings that have happened over the time. His Excellency is really thanking all of us, especially all of our brothers and sisters who were able to seek refuge in the United States, and the United States have played a key role in that drive. So again, happy Independence Day to the government and people of the United States of America. Talking about the United States, I'm sure this has been one of the biggest news that a lot of us have been working on. His Excellency, the President, will lead the Liberian delegation to the White House next week to pay a one-day visit to President Donald Trump. And that meeting will take place in the Oval Office, and specifically on the 9th of July. The President leaves here on Monday, July 7th, and the delegation will return on July 11th following the meeting. And the intent and the importance of this meeting is the preliminary conversation around the long-term African summit that will be happening sometime later this year. But the President is among one of 5 African leaders who were invited to this specific meeting. And the President again wants to thank His Excellency President Donald Trump and the government for extending the invitation, and looking forward to further engagement, and also our foreign ministry team for their hard work so far. So the President again will be leading the team to the United States of America for the engagement. The President also, in the course of the week, welcomed the Liberian pilgrimage, the pilgrims who return from the holy city of Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Saudi Arabia particularly. And last evening there was a welcome ceremony held in their honor, and the President again wants to extend his appreciation to all of the Liberians who were there, who went and prayed for the country. He admonished them to continuously pray for Liberia, pray for the success of the government, and he showed that this will go a long way. And the President also is thanking the committee for ensuring that last of Liberians left this time. Nearly 600 Liberians went to perform Hajj, and the government supported extremely, and he also wants to thank all of the partners who were in this with us and working to make sure this happened. On yesterday as well, the President did launch the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs Vacation Enrichment Program and Community Services Project. That occasion happened at the Executive Pavilion in Monrovia, particularly on Broad Street. And the essence of this event is to show that the support are given to university students who are, have some challenges when it comes to coming up with their tuition. And this is the second time running. The first one happened for the course of last academic year. And this academic year, a group of students will also be benefiting from the scholarship and some vacation enrichment program. Earlier today, the President went to the John F. Kennedy Medical Center, where he had gone to break ground for the construction of a radiotherapy center. That center will play host to a radiotherapy so that those who are in need of that form of medical support will be given. And the event happened earlier, and the President did thank all of our partners the Minister of Health and her team for the hard work, but also seeing the relevance and importance of this, system where it will help Liberians and boosting our health sector in the country. And it has been quite a wonderful time, a very busy time. And again, I'm happy to announce to all of you that His Excellency is really looking forward to tomorrow's occasion to really bring that important event of national reconciliation. And before he left for the John F. Kennedy Hospital, he had a very important meeting with the head of the Nuclear Technology for Sustainable Development team, the IAEA, the Atomic Energy Agency, that was here this morning and is currently visiting the country. There are a number of conversations that's happening in that sector in consonance with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and there are a lot of different opportunities that are pending to be supported. And also, in the United States, despite the president may not be present at that event, but pleased to inform the population that there is an investment forum that's happening in Philadelphia during the course of next week. The president will send a representation. However, it's important to state that the number of different activities happening, the number of progress that the government is making in all sectors, in all spheres, so that our country can be developed, so that what the Liberian people voted for, they actually seeing a reward and benefit. Again, thank you also very much, and I look forward to taking your questions and then your comment on what we've talked about so far this afternoon. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. State your name, the institution you represent. Thank you.
Okay, Madam PBS, my name is Levy, and I report for the Liberia News Agency. So looking at some of the things you just outlined, the president, like you said, had a basic week, and you talk about reconciliation. That's one of the major things that everybody is saying. But are you also looking at the opposition, those out there? Because if you want to reconcile the country, you will also consider those who oppose some of the things that you do. Are there plans by the government or the president to reach out to those people to reconcile the entire country? Thank you.
Okay, my name is Samson. For an argument. My question here is, last week we listened to the Student Unification Party calling on President Boaka to also have a memorial ceremony for students who lost their life during the 1985 riot and during the 1990 riot also. Is there any plans for the President to have that engagement?
I'm Romeo. My question has to do with this and Sion AFL personnel and Staff Sergeant Sir Harris, who got missing for the past 7 months. And the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and this is practically the second time such things happening. How concerned is the president and how is he taking the issue?
Okay, thank you very much. We will respond to those few questions. On the question of the opposition as to whether there's a plan to reconcile. Well, the country, and one of the things that President Boakai looks forward to is being open to everyone. Whether you're opposition, you're in position, you're in opposition, or whatever position you decide to be. But if the question is specifically, because this effort is not a partisan effort, the effort of reconciliation the effort of reburial, the efforts of looking forward to those who've lost their lives. It's not a partisan initiative. It's a national initiative for whether you're opposition or you're any position or you're just a regular, person. And that is his stand, and that's the way the president is proceeding. And he doesn't have any interest to say, I'm doing this because you're in opposition. In fact, as you know, there are many non-partisan of the Unity Party who are serving this government, who were high critics of His Excellency at the time he was candidate for Akai, and they're currently working very actively. But if the question is basically maybe for former presidents, specifically because I know sometimes people think that this effort or with the complaint from the former president here as to his not being involved or those criticism, we've heard some of those criticism, but I can tell you His Excellency has done a lot of outreach, particularly as you can recall on May 14. The president did reach out to former leaders. He reached out to Madam Shalib. He reached out to even current political leaders. He reached out to Cummings as well as Honorable Yuri. But for the former president, he did actually also reach out, placed a call, and followed by a text message. And that call wasn't received. And then we saw another response from the former president that he saw a strange number, and I mean, there's no interest in going into the propaganda component of that. But I can say the president has done his best in reaching out, and he's going to reach out. In fact, even before now, when the president got elected, he started a number of different initiatives of reaching out to different segments of the people. He had meetings and engagement with the religious communities, particularly the Muslim community, also the Christian community, the young people, the persons with disability. He also had meetings with members of the national legislature, as well as the judiciary, and even members of his own executive, and their plans to do more of that, even with the women. There was a specific engagement with the women, and across segment of the people. So it is not just about the president meeting one person. Like I said, it is not a partisan initiative. The interest and meeting of the president is to really do it openly. Everyone is welcome. And of course, he welcomes the criticism as well. He welcomes the issues that will be brought forward and see what can be done. But he's open and he's looking forward to engaging everyone as much as he can. On the issue of the Students' Unification Party and asking whether or not this will be extended to the 1990 riot victims as well as the 1985. Again, like I mentioned, the unification component is happening on tomorrow. It is not for, this covers everyone. It covers people who passed in 1990, even before that, and all the different massacres that happened, even in the counties. Interestingly, this particular event tomorrow, you will have representation from the counties. People will come from different parts of the country to be a part of the activities. There will be young people, there will be survivors, there will be people who will be sharing their own thoughts and stories. You know, we all have to be open. And there was some plan to actually have this at a bigger venue, specifically the SKD, the committee looked at that. But because we're in the rain season, so it's challenging to really hold an event in an open area because there are possibilities of having a downpour of rain, and then there'll be challenges in, moving it out. So that's why the ministerial complex is utilized, and that ministerial complex is going to, the utilization will not be just one place. There's the entire place that you can hold event, both halls and also the yard where it will be utilized for that purpose. So this event or these events, the reburial, the ones that's happening now, the one that will happen in the future, again, it's not just for one person, it's about the country. So wherever the challenges happen, the people who were killed, people who were massacred, people who still their loved ones cannot even account for where they were laid so that they can have that proper burial, it's really an opportunity to really look at how we move forward. On the question of the senior AFL personnel who lost or who for the past 7 weeks or months was missing, I'm sure the president have gotten briefing from the AFL team, the chief of staff, and the Ministry of Defense family, as well as the military advisor. The president have not given any opinion as of yet. I'm sure the investigation is ongoing. Should that conclude, and once we update it, we'll let you know where the president stands on that. But of course, any issue relating to challenges within any sector of our military or paramilitary apparatuses, the president is very concerned. Even if it's one citizen, a young person, a child, the president is concerned with the lives of the people that he's serving. Thank you.
Okay, so PBS, good afternoon, and all of our listeners, good afternoon. My name is Vasta Kalu, and I report for the Liberia Broadcasting System. So, over the course of last week, even though the president was busy with the repair process of Samuel Kandu, I did suspend few officials of government that included Lakra and other people. So, he has now appointed another person to act in at the MCSS in another place. So what becomes of those that the president has suspended? Will they be, even though they are going through an investigation from the NCC, will they be, if they are found guilty, will they be prosecuted, and maybe the financial malpractice or irregularities that were stated in the release, will they be able to restitute those fundings to government's revenue? And this question, the president leaves on Monday. Will we see any press from the e-marshal press go with the president? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start with the last one. This trip was a very quick trip. It was a quick one. And with the United States travels, you need to apply for visa. The visa processes takes time. And if anyone within the press already has a visa, please let us know ASAP. But because that's one of the challenges, even people from our office, it's going to take time to do that. This meeting even though our team was working behind the scenes, but with high-level meetings, they don't get confirmed in long time. It has to, be something, especially at this level. So yes, this was a really quick turnaround engagement that happened. So I can't promise that there will be a press corps member on the team this time. But I can tell you that at the office, we've tried to do some engagement with our partners, and I can tell you that we've lent them an opportunity or 2 opportunities for members of the press corps to get opportunities to get trained in media and other things. So, but I don't want to again let the cat out of the bag as yet, because for me, I like to make sure that everything is set and people are ready to go, and you have the ticket in your hand before we can announce to the people that yes, you have this opportunity. So yes, we are looking for ways in which we can support members of the Executive National Press Corps in whatever way possible. So let's hope and pray that future meetings we can have the opportunity sooner, and some of you can have the opportunities like we've had in the past. On the issue of the suspension, for the president, his interest is to see the country moving. So if you are suspended, there's already a void in that space. So he appoints someone to be able to, be there. That's why the appointment says acting. It doesn't mean when you're acting, meaning you're there now, you're the boss and all of that. You're just holding space until the investigations are completed. As to the question of whether they will restitute or whether they will be prosecuted if found guilty, I leave that with LCC to make, to complete their investigations and do their recommendations and follow up the stead, because there are different steps when it comes to working with LCC or what they do at the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. So maybe some cases that they're not found guilty. Once they said you're not guilty, or you've seen all the documentations, and you clear your name, and then they will also make recommendation for reinstating the individuals if they so desire. But I won't predict what those outcomes of the investigation will be. But I just like to again encourage, because I know the bigger question is the length of time these investigations are taking, because some of the suspension that the president has made has been a while, and some people have been acting for quite a bit. Since the previous people were suspended, some of those cases are yet to be concluded, and that is a concern for the Liberian people. And it is an encouragement for LACC to really be speeded with some of these investigations, because even the people who are accused, they want to be able to have their day in court. They want to be able to have their name cleared. They want to be able to, live freely. Because, in Liberia, once you're accused of something, it's like people think that, you're already guilty. But if LSCs can really do their best and do their part, and ensure whether if they're guilty, before them for prosecution, there's a legal process that has to be completed. And LSCC needs to really speed up their activities for those cases that have been lingered. Because as a government also wants to make sure, and the president wants to make sure that the people who are found to be guilty pay for, what they've taken from the Liberian people. And that's why he's doing these things. That's why he's taking these actions. It's not just because he wants to suspend you and then he suspends you to go away. It's not that. If that's just what he wanted, he would have just dismissed. Because as you know, if you're appointed by the president, you work at the will and pleasure of the president. He has the authority to hire you and fire you anytime. However, if you are suspended for a cause, if you're suspended because you did some things, or you accused of corruption or financial malpractices or any administrative misgivings, and you want to be able to clear, then the president wants to make sure that your suspension, what you're accused of, if this is true, then you need to be held accountable and pay for what you did, and that is his interest, and in the interest of the Liberian people. He says that all the time, and encourages ministers and heads of agencies to really, really work very hard to clearing the name or restituting what they've illegally taken from the Liberian people. If there are no further questions, I'd like to thank all of you again for coming, and look forward to seeing you here next week. But most importantly, let's welcome to the Executive Mansion Press Corps, Ms. Fofana. You're welcome. Thank you for joining the team. And it's a cohort of young professionals who are in the media. Sometimes it gets challenging, but you're here to do your best, keep pushing. Sometimes you have to be very busy, from one event with the president. Covering the presidency is not an easy thing. And we'd like to welcome all of you who have been here. I mean, you're in good hands, you're in people who've been here long enough. Old hands are here, they will push you through. But again, and also thanks to Monsiri. Welcome. I'm not sure we did welcome you, but welcome, Sam, to welcome to the press. So we're getting a lot of new faces. You remember, and this is just a side. When we started here, we used to see a lot of male faces, and I would always say, I'm tired of seeing your faces. We want to see some women in the press school. And I'm glad that your institutions are recommending some of you to come and cover. And Monsiri, you're welcome as well to this team. It can be challenging sometimes. You have to fight it, but it's a big family. We're all in the interest of working for our country. Thank you all, and good afternoon. See you next week.